Hi, Blossom. It's so nice to see you. How are you?
I'm doing great. So good to see you, Ugochi.
I know it's been so long.
I wish I was seeing you in
I
person. But
know, I know, I know, I know. It's been so long. So for the audience, Blossom is a school friend of mine. We've known each other, what, since we were 11?
yes,
But we, yeah, we haven't seen each other in person since, we were saying 1998. So it's been a
yeah,
long
yeah,
time.
yeah.
It's so great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today. So we're just going to kick it off as we usually do. Just tell the audience about yourself. Where were you born? Talk to us. Tell us a little bit about Blossom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so fantastic, great. So I was born in Ogidi in Anambra State, Nigeria. So Ogidi, there's a hospital in Ogidi called Iyenu Hospital where like everyone was born. So that's why I was born. I was born actually immediately after the Biafran War.
Mm-hmm.
So it was so my mom tells me this story. It's so interesting. So of course, they had fled their home during the war and everything. They were sort of refugees for like 3 years throughout the war. And then eventually after the war, they came back to their home, an 8 bedroom house, but it had been burned to the ground.
Oh, wow.
And it was only the guest room that was still standing. So they actually brought me home to that guest room. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
oh, that's
So that's,
awesome. That's
yeah,
where you're
yeah,
born. And did you grow
yeah.
up in Ogidi? Did you spend your childhood years there or did you move?
No, so I was born, so the Ian was like the teaching hospital, like it
Mhm.
was like a big hospital. But I actually grew up in Onitsha. So Onitsha is
Okay.
about 15 minutes from
Mhm.
Ogidi. So
Mhm.
I grew up in Onitsha,
Mhm.
elementary school, and then I went to high school, of course,
Yeah, yeah.
Girls College Owerri,
Whoop, whoop.
yay. High
Mhm.
school in Owerri, Imo State, and
Mhm.
then I went to University of Nigeria, Enugu campus. That's where I studied medicine for 6 years plus strikes.
Yes,
I
yes,
made it
yes,
7 years.
yeah,
So
yeah.
finished my medical school education, and then I moved to Lagos, did my internship, did my youth service, and then somehow got married.
Somehow.
Yeah,
Somehow. Yeah, yeah.
I got stuck in Lagos.
So I'm really excited to dive in because a lot of, I mean, obviously we said we haven't spoken face to face, but I've seen you online, follow you on Instagram, and you'll tell the audience how to connect with you online. But I see all your, Blossom is a very busy woman. She does so much. She runs marathons. She does Zumba. You started Blossom's Fitness Hub. So talk to us a little bit about how you came to Blossom's Fitness Hub. Talk to us a little bit about your love for fitness. Just talk to us.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it's actually a very long story.
Please go ahead. Take your time.
So I'm going to just like say that as it is. So to be honest with you, I had been praying for about 20 years
Mhm.
for God to show me my calling.
Mm,
Like I knew I was supposed to do something, but I didn't know what it was.
mm,
So I kept praying, 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 and every time praying, praying, praying. Then I think it was 2014 December, and I was sort of taking stock of my life, and I was like, I've been praying this prayer for so long, and nothing is going on. I was like,
mm,
God, what am I missing?
mm.
And I just sort of felt God say to me that you're too scared to move.
Yeah.
You're too scared to take the step.
Mm,
So I just promised myself at that point, I'm not going to be scared anymore. I'm just going to take whatever God tells me to do, I'm just going to do it. So the next year, it just sort of, this whole picture just came to me about a fitness event for my birthday. At this point, I wasn't a fitness instructor or anything. I just went to the gym like a regular person,
mhm.
but I did love going to the gym. So I just had this picture of a fitness event where everyone would come for my birthday, but it would just be like a big fitness session. So initially I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Then I remembered had promised I was going to take the step, whatever step God gave to me, whatever thing God gave to me, I was going to just move in that direction. So I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. So I did it, and it was fantastic. I wasn't an instructor, so I just called other instructors to sort of lead the session. It was fantastic. Everyone was like, when are we doing the next one? When are we doing the next one? So, you know, this sort of went on. I started thinking, okay, so what else can I do? And then one day I was in the gym, and then one of my friends just said, you know, you could be an instructor. And I was like, no, I can't. I'm shy. I'm reserved. I mean, you know me. I'm shy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm an introvert, for crying out loud. So I was like, no. That stuff is for extroverts, for people that are outgoing. I'm really quiet, blah, blah, blah. So then I think that summer I traveled to the States. So I went for this Zumba class. It was awesome. I had fun. I was coming out of the class. And then this elderly white lady just followed me to my car. I'd never seen her before. And she said, you know, you should be an instructor. And
wow.
I was like, so at this point, I sort of knew God was saying something.
Yes.
So I went home, I pulled up my phone, and I just Googled how to become a Zumba instructor. And then I saw there was a training happening, like in a few weeks' time. It was convenient. It was close to me. It was, and then I was like, I just registered for the training. I went for the training. I did the training. I got the license. I said, okay, I have a license. So what do? I just sort of stuck it in my shelf and just forgot about it. And then the next year, I started feeling like I needed to do another fitness event, you know, just like I'd done for my other birthday. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do. Everybody was excited. Oh, we've been waiting for you to do this thing again. So I got other instructors, and then I said, okay, you know, I need to do something different. So one of my friends were like, you know, let's do something different. Let's not do the same thing we did last time. So I said, what if we say we have sort of a surprise instructor, and it will be me, you know, since I had my, you know, but I had never led a class. I didn't actually use it for anything. So my friend was like, yes, let's do it. Let's say it was like surprise. No one knew. It was just both of us that knew that I was going to be the surprise instructor. So the day came, it was going well. Other instructors were leading the class. It was fun. Everyone was having so much fun. And then it got to the point for them to announce the surprise instructor, and I completely froze. I just said to myself, I can't do this. It was a huge crowd, like a huge, massive crowd. I said, I can't do this. So I went to my friend. I said, you know, that whole surprise, I said, I'm not doing it. I'm going to cancel it, since it's just both of us that know that this is actually happening. And she said, no, you can't. She said, you do it. I said, no, I'm not. I said, I'm not doing it. I said, you're going to do it. And we're going back and forth. We're backstage going back and forth. And I said, I'm not doing it. When she saw she wasn't getting through to me, she went and called all the other instructors and said, you guys come here. And she said, you know that whole surprise instructor thing? They said, yeah. She said, it's Blossom, and she's saying she's not doing it.
Wow.
Like, you have to do it. I was almost crying. I was so scared. They were like, okay, we'll go on stage with you. We'll support you. Oh my goodness. They talked me. They just talked me down. I was like, okay, I'm going to try and do it. So they made the announcement, and I went on stage. As God is my witness, as soon as I stepped on stage, I became a completely different person. I don't know what happened. It was as if I was born to be there.
I love it.
So that's how Blossom Fitness Hub actually started.
So, okay. There is so much there that we could spend hours talking. This is one of the reasons I love doing what I do, because you think you know someone, you talk to them, and then you hear their story and you're like, wow. So there's so many things that I want to make sure that I highlight from what you said, you know, because I know you're telling your life story, but as I'm listening, I know this will resonate with the audience. The first one is your purpose, right? What you're born to do.
Yes.
And, you know, just really having that passion to figure out, because that's a passion of mine. It's like, what are we on earth for? What are we born to do? And, you know,
Exactly.
it's, and, you know, I love how you said when you came on stage, it was as if it was what you were born to do. And yet there was all
Yeah.
this fear. The
Yeah.
second thing was, oh, there's so many things that we'll probably come back to it. But what I loved about your story as well was accountability. And it kind of just came to me as you were talking, you know, it's finding the people, you're not telling the world because it was a surprise, which is a good thing. You're not telling the world your dream because there's so many people out there that can crush it or say,
Yes.
you know, like, you're so quiet and reserved, blah, 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 why are you doing that? But also,
Exactly.
having people in your corner that will hold you accountable, because when you said you weren't going to do it, she's like, oh, yes, you are, you know, because you said, you know, you could do this. And then the third
Yeah.
thing I love is, I do know you. And from
Yeah.
school, I do know that you were quiet and reserved, but watching you on Instagram, I forgot. I completely forgot that Blossom was this quiet, introverted person. I just see you as bubbly, effervescent, outgoing, like full of life. And it just goes to show that when you're doing what you're, quote unquote, your words, born to do, it just makes you
Yeah.
come alive. So there's so much there. I love it. I love this story. I love it. I love it. I love it. So talk to us a little bit about, so that you said that was how Blossom's Fitness Hub started.
That wasn't
Okay,
really how the
good.
whole thing started.
Okay,
Actually,
go ahead. Tell us how it did.
Okay. So after that event,
Mhm.
I was on a complete high because
Yeah.
I could not believe that how awesome I felt.
Mhm.
So after that event, the MC at that event, he called me and he said, "Can I come and meet with you at your office?" I said, "Fine." So he came to my office and he laid out this vision. He said, "This is what you can do.
Mhm.
You have this." He actually came up with the name Blossom's Fitness Hub.
Mhm.
He said, "You have this hub, you know, it's fitness. You're using fitness as a platform to reach people, to reach young people, everyone, to reach people." And I just listened because at some point you get to a point in your life where you have to learn to listen, because God is not going to tell you everything directly. There are times he will speak to people through you. So I just listened. And then I left it there. Then one of the instructors at that event, he called me and he said, "Can I come and see you in your office?" I said, "Fine." He came to my office and he laid out the same vision, the same thing.
Wow.
And then one day, our WhatsApp group. So our high school, Federal Owerri, we have a WhatsApp group. So we're in the WhatsApp group chatting one day, and then Ebere. Ebere. So Ebere started saying, Blossom, this fitness thing that you're doing, you could do. She started laying out this vision.
Wow.
And it was the same thing.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
exactly, you can ask the girls, it was the same thing. It kept going, and everyone was chiming. I was like, yes, Ebere, you're onto something, you're onto something. And then Ebere said, "You know what, Blossom, I'm going to call you." So she called me and she laid down this whole vision.
Wow.
The same thing.
Wow.
So I didn't say anything. I said, "Okay, I'll think about it." Then one of the young people I mentor, her name is Danielle. For years, so I started mentoring her since she was 13. So I was a teen church pastor at the time. So she was one of the teenagers in church. So I was mentoring her till she got into college in her 20s. So she'll always tell me, she calls me Auntie B. Auntie B, I feel that the mentoring I've received from you, I feel that you're supposed to do it on a large scale, but I don't. She said, "I feel that more young people are supposed to benefit from it, but I really don't know how it's going to happen." Then, every once in a while she'll come and tell me, "Auntie B, why don't you just be on social media so you can inspire people, blah, 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 blah." I said, no, I don't do social media. No, private person. So she'll let it go. Then after a few months, she'll come back, "Why don't you?" I'm like, no, I've told you I don't do social media. So so one day we're in my house and she was like, "Auntie B, you know what? You don't actually need to do the social media. I'll do it for you. You just need to give me." Yeah, You just need to give me the content. I'll do everything else. I'm like, I've told you I do the social media. Then that instructor that had come to my office, he started saying, you know, you can actually start this on social media. And I said, I don't do social media. And then you know what he said? He said, you know, there's that young lady that always follows you around. Why can't she do it for you?
Yeah, you can't run. You cannot run.
It was at this point I knew that there was no running. So I said, you know what? I'm going to call a meeting. So I called a meeting, Daniel, the MC at my fitness event. So 3 of us, we sat down. He came up with the name Blossom's Fitness Hub. We laid down like template, everything. And I was just sitting there and we were like, we need to do an event, an inaugural event, blah, blah, blah. We'll do this. And we need a celebrity. The whole thing, next thing I knew, it was this whole thing. We had Kate Henshaw at the first event. And then I remember this venue, it was at the top of a roof. The day it belonged to a friend of ours who it was a new construction. So when she was doing the construction, she had taken us on a tour of the place. So when I got to the top of the roof, I just saw this picture of a fitness event on that roof. So at this point, I said, you know what? I have the venue for that event. And that was how we had the first Blossom's Fitness Hub event with Kate Henshaw. And we had all these. So we just went on social media and said, we're doing this, blah, blah, blah. Young people, anyone can come. So people just started showing up, showing up. Next thing we knew, the whole thing, it became like a family, a hub. It was everything. Like it's mind blowing the way everything just came. So that's how Blossom's Fitness Hub started.
I love it. I love it. This is so inspiring. I love it. I love it. I love it. So how does it work? Do you meet every Saturday? Because I know your primary focus is Zumba. So talk to us about that. Yeah.
Okay. So Zumba is sort of the platform, the fitness platform that I use. But I mean, aside from Zumba, because Zumba sort of has a certain formula, but I sort of have my own touch to the point.
Customized.
So I sort of have like an Afrobeat touch. So Zumba is mostly Latin music. So I sort of have an Afrobeat pop, hip-hop thing to my own. So we have classes on Saturdays. We have big events as well. I mean, our events are always so amazing. So, but aside from the classes that we actually have a WhatsApp group. So there's so much that goes on in between the classes. Like it's like a family. I don't know how to explain it.
I do.
They actually call me mom.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. I love it.
So it's fantastic. Honestly,
I love it.
It's been an awesome experience.
I love it. And of course, I will make all this information available in the show notes so that people who are in the area or visiting like myself, because I promised you the next time I'm in Lagos, I have to come. I have to come. So I'll make this information available so people can connect because it's so inspiring. But you've always been into fitness though. You've run marathons. You've always been like, this fitness like guru. Have you always, when I say you've always been, has this always been a passion right from childhood, or did you kind of become interested in fitness? How did that evolve?
I think, which is one of the reasons I know I was born to do this. My dad played tennis, my mom played some tennis, my brothers played tennis, did all sorts of sports. So I just sort of grew up assuming that we were all supposed to be doing some form of sport or exercise. So like in elementary school, they'll come to class and they'll be like, oh, we're doing inter-house sports. Who is interested in doing track? Yes, I'm interested. Like even in Federal I did track, I did high jump, I did long jumps. I sort of always assumed I was supposed to do things like that. But the thing was, so after university, I sort of had this vision, maybe because of my mom, because my mom has 4 kids, and she sort of maintained her
Yeah, she did.
Her figure.
I
You know what
remember.
I mean?
I do remember. Yes.
So I just sort of told myself, I want to be like my mom. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So after I finished university, I said, okay, I just told myself, after I get married and start having kids, after each kid, I want to go back to my pre-pregnancy. So to be able to do that, I had to join a gym, had to start working out. And then when I started doing that, I found I really loved it.
Yeah.
So I said, I didn't actually used to run. So I started running. That's another long story. I started running. So after I had my first child, I lost baby weight. Second child, the third child, the weight wouldn't go. I was like, what am I doing wrong? So one day I was in the gym on the treadmill. I used to just walk on the treadmill. Then one of the trainers in the gym said, you can actually run. I said, no, I'm not a runner. He said, you don't need to run the whole time, just like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, fine, because I need to get rid of this weight. So I ran 5 minutes the first day. I was like panting. I was like, oh my goodness. And then I walked for like maybe 15, 20 minutes. And the next time I did it, then I increased to 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Then one day I did 1 hour straight. And the next thing I knew, one of the people in the gym were like, oh, we run on Saturdays. You want to join us? I was like, okay, fine. And I joined them. The first time I was like almost dying. And then we kept running, and we'll do this like every Saturday. Then one of them was like, oh, next week I'm traveling to Houston for the Houston Marathon. I said, what does that mean? She said, oh, she's going to Houston to run. I said, you're going to Houston. You're going to fly to Houston from Lagos, Nigeria to run 42 kilometers, and then you get on the flight and come back. She said, yes. I said, you're crazy. So she did it. She came back and she said, Blossom, you can do this. I said, no, it's crazy. No one does that. I said, no, you can do it. She kept talking. And one day she said to me, you know what? All these are Saturday runs. Do you know you've actually run a marathon, but it wasn't official?
Yeah.
And I thought about it. I was like, because some days will do like 21 miles. And I was like,
wow, yeah.
What's wrong?
Yeah.
So one day I just registered for a marathon. I didn't tell anyone, no one. And that was how I ran my first marathon.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. So how many full marathons have you done?
I've done 7 full marathons and then 1 half.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So
I know you've done 10. I know you did 10 in 10 years.
I did 10. No, I did 10 actually in 4 years, I think. Well, no, I did my first one in 2004 after I had the twins because I was trying to lose some weight. And then I didn't run my next one till 2015. And then I did 9 in 4 years. Yeah. So
my goodness, amazing.
It's amazing, but I haven't run. Okay. I don't run anymore. Let me just say that. But but your journey is so inspiring. We'll come back to the fit. Well, actually, no, let's talk about the fitness because I know that there will be people listening, and of course, not everybody will ever run a marathon. But just hearing you and your passion for fitness and all the rest of it, maybe they're sedentary already, or maybe they want to take their fitness program to the next level. What would you say to people who maybe are a little bit fit, have fallen off the wagon, have never started, don't know where to begin, or want to get to the next level? I know there are 3 different buckets, but what would you say to people who want to do better in terms of fitness,
Yes. I have what I call the 3 S's.
Okay.
So the first S is start small. You're not going to run a marathon. My first run was 5 minutes.
Yes,
crying out.
Yes, that's true.
That was after my third child. That was in 2000. So you don't start small. That's my first S. Start small. If you're going to be able to walk for 30 minutes, if that's what you can do, just do it. And then my second S is stay consistent.
Yes.
So if you're going to commit to the 30 minutes. So if it's 30 minutes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just commit to it. 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do too much, but you have to stay consistent. And then my third S is slowly increase. Remember I told you I said at 5 minutes, but I didn't stay at 5 minutes. I went up to 10 minutes, even though it took me forever to go from 5 to 10, but I still did increase. So slowly increase. So start small, stay consistent, and then slowly increase. So if you haven't started the journey at all, this totally applies. If you started the journey, you fell off the wagon, or you're trying to get to the next level, it's still the same thing. You start small, but you have to slowly increase. Even if it's increasing, maybe adding an extra 0.2 miles to your walk or to your run, or whether it's adding an incline to that treadmill, just slowly increase, but you have to stay consistent.
Yeah.
So
I love it. That's awesome. And I love how you broke it down and made it simple. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. I do want to talk, there's something I want to talk about my kids, you know, anytime we're out and there's music and I start, Mommy, what are you doing? Stop that. You know, like they get embarrassed. So of course here's Blossom on Instagram dancing with her daughter and doing all these Zumba classes. So there was a particular post that you had made with your daughter. I think you were dancing. It was recent. I mean, I know you've done a few posts with your daughter, but there was one in particular I had showed my daughter, and she's like, "Oh, that's so cute." Actually, we were at a mutual friend in California. We were at her house and we were talking, and I showed her. I said, "Yeah, we're talking about you," and we showed her the post. She said, "Oh, that's so cute." I was with my nieces from the UK at the time, and so I laughed. I came home and I showed it to my youngest son, who's always like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Do you see this? Do you see this?" I said, "You can never be embarrassed if Mommy is dancing." I guess the point I want to make is that you look so cool. Of course. You're not their mom. You look, but to them, oh my gosh, she's your age. She looks so cool, and this and fabulous and all this, which is amazing. It's great. But I want to talk to you in that vein about your philosophy about aging and just staying young at heart, because that's a passion of mine as well. There's someone else I follow that says, and I agree with her, how in the past people would say things like, oh, 50 is the new 35. She's like, no, 50 is the new 50. You don't have to be younger than you are, so I want to talk to you. Exactly. So I want to talk to you about your philosophy on staying young at heart and just aging with grace,
Yeah. So I totally, that's totally what I live for, because I believe that you have to stay young in your mind to start with. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Why would you tell yourself you can't do this or that? It's what you tell yourself that you're going to do. And that's what people are going to see. So if you tell yourself that I'm young, I'm having fun. You're going to look like you're young and you're having fun.
Yes.
So it actually starts with what you're telling yourself. Because like when I do my Zumba classes, I mean, people that come to my class, they're like in their teens and their 20s. They're like really young people.
I love it.
They don't care how old I am. They don't care because I don't care. So they don't care. So that's awesome. It's really what you're thinking inside that you project on the outside.
I love it. I love it. So it sounds like it's your mindset, really. It's all internal. It's all internal. And the outside just flows from your mindset. I love that.
You can totally dance in public, Ugochi. You can. Don't let your children tell you that you cannot.
I'll tell them you said that. You're right. You are absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So as we start to, wind down, this has been an amazing discussion. I do want to talk to you about what is next. Well, before we do that, what do you wish you'd known? What do you wish you had known when you started the Fitness Hub? Are there some things that you're like, okay, if I had to go back and do it again, I would have done things differently? I'm curious about that.
To be honest with you, nothing.
Excellent. Okay.
Nothing.
Cool.
Because I the story I told you about my fear of getting on stage? That experience broke something for me. Like it broke this sort of this ceiling of fear, or this this fear that we put, this wall of fear that we put up in front of ourselves. So from that experience, I realized that the only thing keeping you from where you're going is your fear.
Yes.
Once I started the hub, once we started the hub, I just knew that once that fear came in front of me, that was my first clue that there was something fantastic behind that fear. So I always moved. So like, I really have no regrets, to be honest. No.
I love that.
Every
I love
opportunity that has been placed in my lap, I've taken.
Oh, I love it. 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 I love that response. What are you curious about? What makes you think, I wonder about that? You know, I'd love to hear from your perspective.
What am I curious about? To be honest with you, everything I'm curious about, I seek out. So at the end of the day, I'm really not curious about anything.
Okay.
Like anything I ask myself, how would it be? For example, let me give you an example. I started thinking, how would it be if I had Michael Jackson themed fitness events with a big celebrity? What instead of thinking about it, I just did it. So this is one thing I tell people. You don't have enough time to sit around trying to wonder, how can I do this? Or just seek out the opportunity, ask questions, get it done. Don't waste time asking. So really, everything I've been curious about, I've sought out, I've discovered, I've experienced, really, honestly. Yes.
I love that. I love that. So I guess a follow-on question from that would be then, I love that you said anything you're curious about, you've gone and you've tried to investigate and try it out. So what next then is on the radar for you? What are some new heights?
I'm so excited for this one. I'm so excited.
Okay.
It's something, well, you're going to hear it here first. It's something we're calling Blossom's Fitness Hub Tour. So what we've been doing is we have our classes at a particular venue and people come to our classes. But now we're taking the hub all over Lagos.
Wow.
Starting with Lagos, and then we're going to look at Nigeria, and then Nigeria. Yes. Wow. So it's what we're calling the Blossoms Fitness Hub Tour.
Wow. That's amazing. I'm excited. I'm excited for you. Excited. Yeah. I really, because I can say, just looking at it, I know it's something that people will love, that people may not have access to your point, because it's in one location, but as you move around, I'm sure you'll have that engagement. That is amazing. That is amazing. How do you balance it all though? Because it sounds like you're really, really busy. You're a physician. You're a mother of 4 grown children. You're a wife, so this is a Fierce Mothers podcast. So I have to ask you, how do you balance?
And I'm also in school.
Oh, okay. Okay. So talk to us about that. How, I'd love to hear.
I honestly don't know how everything is happening, but it's somehow happening. How do I balance everything? So what I do is there's a lot of time management required. There's a lot of waking up. So because people think, oh, Zumba, you guys are having fun. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of hard work. People don't realize how much work I have to put in. I have to wake up at 4 a.m. I have to rehearse for my classes. Like one time, one of my colleagues at work, at the hospital where I work, we had a Zoom meeting, and she called me. I was like, "You're running late." I said, I'll join you soon. I'm rehearsing." She said, "What are you rehearsing for?" I said, "I'm rehearsing for my Zumba class." She said, "You have to rehearse for that?" I said, "Yeah, I have to rehearse for hours." The fun that you see us have is a lot of work that I've put in behind the scenes. So I have to rehearse for my classes. So I wake up very early, 4 a.m. I have to rehearse for my classes. I have to do my own workout. So what I do when I'm doing I usually run on the treadmill most mornings. So when I'm running on the treadmill, I'm listening to music. As I'm listening to music, I'm working on choreography in my head for my classes. And then when I get the opportunity, I try out the choreography for my classes. And then I do this, shower, and get to work. So after work, I have to do all the things I have to do for work. Then I come back, I have meetings, we have an oil service company where I'm an executive director, so I'm also doing that as well. So I come back, another thing I do is when I'm in the car, because in Lagos there's so much traffic, coming home from work, I'm actually working while I'm in traffic. So it's a lot of time management, it's a lot of multitasking, but somehow it's getting done.
It's getting done. It's getting done. And I'm assuming, of course, that you schedule your downtime for wellness, because you look amazing. You're vibrant. You're energetic, which is not sustainable if you are not getting that self-care and that rest as well, right? So yes, I'm sure you're doing that. Yeah. This has been amazing, Blossom. This has been amazing. It's so inspiring. You know, it's just always so inspiring to speak to women across the globe who are doing so well and doing amazing things and who are inspiring others. That's the biggest thing. And it's been amazing. Is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't ask that you'd like to make sure the audience know about you?
Well, like I told you, I'm an executive director in an oil servicing company. So people actually don't know that. Because like I'm currently doing a program at Harvard. So one of my classmates, she follows me on Instagram, and she was like, because she sees all this dancing going on. What exactly do you do? Like, how are you an executive director in an oil service company and you're just dancing? And like, trust me, there's a lot going. So I think that's one thing people don't know about me.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. Amazing. You are an inspiration, Blossom. I'm so honored to know you, to say, oh yeah, I went to school with her. She's you are amazing. And thank you so much for spending this time with us. It's been great getting to know you. Thank you. Thank you.
And I can't